Hello, YouTubers. Joe here of Joe and Paul. And as I alluded to yesterday, we were having a bit of an internet saga, and so I went to church this morning at 8 o'clock and got home as I had promised at 9:15, and Matt the cable guy showed up at 10:15. Now, Matt's been doing this for 15 years, and there's a bit of a problem, as there often is, because of the, addresses in the databases and so forth that have, well, it's a long tale of woe and lament, but nonetheless, after he went to the other address on the database that is generally used, he called and then redirected himself to our address, which is which is in reality where we are. I mean, that's almost a tautology, isn't it? Well, no, it's not all. It is a tautology.
It's because of the billing thing.
Well,
it says we're in Westerville, but we're not Westerville.
Well, see, we don't need to get into that. Anyway, so, he went to the Kroger's down the road that has the same address. But it's in a different county, so that's part of it. But it's also a different zip code. But our service address is actually that zip code, but our real address is a different zip. We're the last ones in the zip code. We have like 4 zip codes converge, and well, somebody's going to be the last person in the zip code, don't they? Anyway, he quickly addressed the problem. He'd already pretty much, been able to do it even before he got here. And he says, and this is so neat. It's one of these great paradoxes. We have too much power, so it shuts down. The reason we have too much power is, one, we have too much power. Just the setting on the line is too much. And that's made worse by the fact that there was a plug on this little junction box. It's like a little square thing. It's got little holes and
multiple
plugs
holes all around it.
Plugs. Well, it's
one was missing.
It's like an adapter. Well, anyway, so that one was missing. Now, whether it was missing from the beginning on in, or whether that had worked its way out, or a magic squirrel had come in and taken it out, who knows?
Well, when the guy hooked it up, he had the piece that he put up there, and it was missing that little nut.
Well, I think Terry. Well, and given what we ended up doing later, I wouldn't be surprised. And that is made worse by the fact that a plug is missing from the connection box up by the pole, allowing moisture to get in, and this accounts for the nocturnal shutdown and morning startup that we've been having the last 4 days now. And so at night, the moisture is in there and it condenses and it shorts out, or actually before it shorts it out, it increases the conductivity such that it confuses things and it shuts us down.
Connectivity.
Connectivity. And then when it warms up in the late morning, the moisture goes out of the hole and it starts working again.
Yeah, because the sun shines on it and it dehydrates all the moisture in the box up on the pole. And that's how we suddenly come back up. So instead of us having a lot of traffic on the wire, on the system that we were thinking we were having, it was always knocking us out, like on early weekend mornings and stuff. No. It's due to mist getting inside of this stuff from the fog and whatever, and especially the rain we had a couple of days ago.
Yeah, so that explains that. So then he needed to get a plug. See, this guy tried to put a ladder up, but he couldn't get a good purchase for the ladder, and so he put on his climbing gear and went pole climbing, with the spikes going in the pole and then the belt and the belt and the belt.
Yeah, thank God he missed the cable going up the side of the pole.
Yes, he didn't spike the cable going up the pole. That was good. And so he was actually kind of getting a kick out of this because he said he hadn't climbed a pole for a while because they don't like him to climb poles unless they absolutely have to. And a lot of times he says, we just don't report where you have to climb poles because that gets them all in a tizzy about stuff. So
makes them nervous.
Well, it increases their
for the liability.
Well, it increases their workman's comp rate, is what it does. And so, so he's up there, and he's got and he's got himself sort of strapped to the upper line. So he's not even if he falls, he's not going to fall. So he says to us, "Can we go to the back of the truck and get this part for him?" Which, after a certain amount of toing and froing, we did. He threw his keys down and Paul figured out how to get in the back, and Paul actually found the part, and so he says, "That's great." He said, "So just throw it up to us, throw it up to him, And of course, I tell you, I'm about the last person in the world you want me to throw anything to you. So if you're drowning, you got a better chance swimming for it than to have me throw something at you. First of all, it's probably going to miss you completely. Or if it doesn't miss you, it's probably going to hit you in the head. So
knock you unconscious.
Yeah, so don't ask me to help you by throwing stuff to you. So, I got 4 tries and it's bouncing, so it's not that far off. I mean, come on, but still.
Hey, you made it to his feet.
Well, I actually made it up, to his level, but it was wide. Well, anyway, so then Paul tried. Now, so then he says, what I really need is I don't need the whole part.
I need one nut.
He needs this little plug. It's like a 9/16 inch plug, and it's got an O-ring on it. And it's got some Vaseline grease on it, and what it does is it keeps the water. It keeps the water out of these things.
Box up on the phone pole.
So I scamper back in and I get little
pliers.
Well, it was a channel lock, but I didn't wrench it down on it, and it came off very easy. Once basically you just had to just break the thing and you can finger it out, and so then Paul Paul tried 3 times, but then on the 4th time, Paul got it to him and he caught it, and so that was that. So down he comes, and then he wants to go check he wants to do something to our box and back. And he says, what we have to do is we have to actually increase the resistance. He says, your modem is screaming.
Because it's getting too much stuff sent into it.
No. Our modem is doing too good. Our modem is being like a power modem. And so it's got to be, it has to cut down stuff. It has to increase the resistance to it. So,
no.
Well, any case, without getting into the electronics of this, he puts a resistance block in our box, and he says, these guys are going to come out and reset the actual power up at the line in a couple, 3 or 4 days.
On the pole.
Yes, well, near the pole. And
box.
And he says, and you'll know when it happens because you're going to slow way down again. So then you just go out and take this junction box out and hook the thing back up the way it was hooked up before, out here at the back of the house. That's fun. So there it is. And we're now between 22 and 27 megabits down, guys. We were both watching videos here today, and no hesitation, and we didn't have to change the quality, and we have to do this and that, and piss and moan about I piss and moan about more often than Paul does.
Hey, if you go up to look at the Susan Reed locks, you'll notice that they finally cleaned the bird crap off of one of the cameras.
Well, yes. And
so they're all clear views of any directions from whatever the camera's taking pictures of. There's no big splats of crap on one of the lenses.
Yeah. So we're
what it's worth.
So we're good to go. We're good to go. We got our internet back. Now it's not quite eventide yet. So as the sun goes down, I'll be interested to see what happens here, you know, as the residual moisture left inside that little box condenses and might cause us some problem, but that might be a story for tomorrow. So,
but no moisture is supposed to get in the box anymore.
Well, but there's moisture that's already in there. I mean, there was no way to purge the moisture that was in there. Now this isn't a particularly humid day because, you know, the high pressure area and all this stuff. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean,
it's still frosting. Chilly.
Yes, and it was quite cold when he did it. It was like 45 when he did this. So, in any case, I rejoice in having our internet back, and
we can click away now.
Oh my word, yes! I mean, I was just zoom, 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 zoom. So, you know, that's what you want, isn't it? I mean, once you become beguiled by this, once you become, you know, turn this into some sort of idol. You know, I mean, this is idolatry. You know, here we are worshiping at the idol of the internet. So,
I never thought we would.
Well, I knew we'd have to at some point. I didn't think it would quite take hold of me the way it's taken hold of me, but I am a suggestible individual.
I wish I had more time to spend on.
Oh, well, when you decide to retire, you'll have all the time in the world.
Oh, and I love being called a young man. Think about it.
Who called you that?
He did. The Matt guy.
Oh.
He said, okay, go for it, young man. And I
I think that was a slang term.
Well, I just told him I hadn't heard anybody call me a young man for 40 years.
Well, no, that's it's like when you get carded. You know, in Indiana it was so neat. I mean, anywhere. I mean, North Carolina they card you for alcohol, and here, you know, you're in there with gray hair and everything. Oh, I'm going to card you. Oh.
They still do it on the corner.
Well, sometimes, yeah, some places in Ohio do that as well. You know.
Cigarettes and.
Well, I don't.
You want to buy a beer?
I don't buy cigarettes. I get to smell them a lot, but I don't buy them.
You buy a beer, they're gonna card you back. You're gonna buy even a fake cigarette, they'll card you.
A fake cigarette?
Yeah, you got these electric cigarettes that cost like about $10, and they card you for it.
Well, I'll take your word for that because that's not an economic area I wish to explore. But that's okay. I mean, I don't care if people do that. And, you know, in fact, I think we ought to be just smoking away everywhere like we used to.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I mean, I don't like being around it, but you know,
hey,
I don't think the government should be telling people what to do. You know, short of, you know, don't kill each other, don't beat each other up, don't set fire to each other's houses. You know, the old common law felonies. Yeah. The old common law felonies, not, oh, I hurt somebody's feelings, or, you know, you hurt somebody's feelings, you know, we're going to
don't blow thy neighbor up.
Yeah. Don't blow your neighbor's house up, you know.
Don't blow up.
Don't blow up a race where you cut people's legs off. I mean,
and
you know, real crimes, not the nonsense that they do, you know, spend most of their time on today.
Come on, what happened to the good old days where biggest problem with you and people running around, you know, with their Gatsby guns and robbing banks, you know, like Bonnie and Clyde and all of that.
Well, they dealt with that under the Firearms Act of 1933 with the machine guns and all that stuff. But
yeah.
Well, we can get into that another day. But I think...
Well, they didn't hurt anybody.
Yes, they did. They killed tons of people and banks. And, you know, yes, it was awful. But that didn't have anything to do with the firearms they used. It just had to do with the fact that these are evil, nasty people running around. So now, Are we done for a while?
Yeah.
I've been trying out this new camera I showed you the other day, yesterday, and I'll try to put something together here, a day or two from now, because I've been taking some videos of Paul while he's been, since we've got up to speed.
It's another new test of another new piece of equipment that we've got to get down and get pat.
Yes, it's
before we can truly really go use.
Well, it's a learning curve. I don't know. I mean, when I play this stuff back, I can barely hear myself. So if that's the case, then I'll have to figure out something else to do. So having said that, we're going to say bye-bye, YouTubers.
Sleep well.